For anyone who cares, I haven't posted a video in several weeks, months, however long it's been. I've been busy, life stuff, whatever. I'm super stoked to show you what I've been busy on lately. I installed a car lift in my garage. Yep. No, I'm not rich. I flipped a few cars, made a few bucks here and there, saved some money, and like it sits right there, $2,000. That's it. And that was including having to buy a big, huge hammer drill to drill through my concrete. So, and also, well, I guess I could walk you guys through the lift itself. It is a, let's see, it's actually by peak. Can you see that? 2-post, it has a floor plate. I've actually got it up over there so that I could get these wood blocks on the floor. But it has a floor plate, and because my concrete is 20 years old and it has a few cracks running through it here and there, I was kind of paranoid about these lifts in my garage because the only thing that holds that lift upright is the bolts in the floor right there. Well, you can see, I've got some cracks in my concrete, and this actually happened because I didn't follow the torque procedure. So kind of jumping around a little bit, but anyway, because I was a little paranoid about the quality of my concrete, I actually built that cross brace at the top. And you can see it's a little bit shorter than the fluorescent light, but I didn't lose any head clearance. I'm 6 foot tall, and I can literally stand up flat-footed underneath my car. And I've still got one more click I can go, and I still got more height to go. But I put that cross brace up there to tie those two towers together. That cross brace is 3-inch steel, mild steel box tubing that's 3/16 wall thickness. And then those gussets are 1/4 inch, and I've got 2 of the gussets, and then I've got it all bolted together. I won't bore you with the details. I am an engineer, so I do have a clue what I'm doing. All the bolts are grade 8 with, zinc coating on them. I don't have a welder, don't want to buy a welder just for this one job, so I spent about $70 on big, huge, fat bolts. I studied the tensile strength and shear strength and all that stuff, the Young's modulus for all this stuff. Made sure it was, actually it's probably about 3 times stronger than it would need to be to lift the entire car. So that completely alleviates any fear I have of my concrete giving way, because as those towers, or as the lift goes higher, there's a lot of tension to pull those lifts together. Well, that cross beam on the top eliminates that tension. Even whenever I didn't have that cross beam up there, I put my Dakota on it, which weighs almost $5,000, and I got it about 2 or 3 feet off the ground, and the pillars didn't flex or move in any way. They were completely level and plumb in both directions. But it's a 9,000 pound lift, so it will do my truck and then some. And honestly, I think the reason they rate it at 9,000 pounds is because there's nothing that ties the 2 towers together. But because I have those 2 towers tied together, I won't have any hesitation about putting a full-blown, truck on it that weighs 5,000 or 6,000 pounds. It won't bother me at all. I've worked in lots of shops. I was a mechanic for 10 years before I became an engineer. That's how I became an engineer, because I got sick of working with my back, and I went to school, worked my way through school, and then I became an engineer. But anyway, I still carried over all the skills and knowledge from being a mechanic. And I've worked in shops all across the country, literally, in several different states, several different shops. And this is a better quality lift than really any of the ones that I've seen. I've used bin pack and rotary lifts and hunter lifts, and this is honestly just as good a quality. It came with these pads that have a huge thick rubber surface on them, which I've never seen before, and these are freaking awesome. They don't mess up pinch frames. Really heavy duty steel. Came with these deals right here, where it actually cups the frame. It came with all of these extender pieces, which is about $300, and those came with the lift. It's not asymmetrical, but the way the arms are designed, they collapse really small, so you can actually kind of lift asymmetrically. But it's a symmetric lift that has the capability to do semi-asymmetric. It has a 3 horsepower peak power unit. All the other ones that I saw were actually 2 horsepower. And it doesn't even break a sweat. It doesn't struggle. You don't even hear the motor spin down whenever it lifts my truck with it. And honestly, tonight, this is the first time I've actually had any vehicle on it full all the way above my head. And I've got some work I have to do on my Corvette. I guess I could give you guys a quick peek. So this happens a lot. I don't know if you can see that. My car's kind of blocking the light, but that's oil. And it's coming from the turbos. Please, no BS about eBay turbo kits. It's not an eBay turbo kit. It is a very well thought out, very well made kit that I bought used on eBay. I bought it from eBay, but it is not some eBay brand. It's actually a Phobia Street Innovation. It's a very good quality kit. The problem I'm having is that right now the tune isn't complete. And what happens is whenever you clutch it in certain situations, the RPMs drop to like 300 or 400 RPM. It doesn't die, but the RPMs drop. When the RPMs drop, I can see the voltage meter drop below 12 volts. When the voltmeter drops below 12 volts, I can hear the motor, the oil pump motor spin down. Every time I hear that oil pump spin down, it fills the turbos with oil. And it is really freaking annoying. So I'm trying to figure out if my alternator's going bad, or maybe I just need to get an alternator that puts out more amps. It's got the factory alternator in there. So I've got some investigation I'm trying to do. Kit still builds boost. Great. What I have to do when this happens is like rev it up really high and it blows all the oil out. And you can tell the difference. Once it gets all the oil out, then the turbos just spool like crazy. So anyway, that's why I focused on getting this lift in, because I've got some more work I have to do. The other thing I'm working on is installing a boost controller, because the springs that came with the kit are 4 PSI springs. And 4 PSI springs. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting one of these boost controller solenoids on it. And what I've got right now is I've basically got both of the turbos teed together off of one boost source. And that gave me 1 extra pound of boost. Not intentionally, I just wanted to drive the car one day and I didn't have the boost controller finished. So I've got a really slick way of installing the gauge. I'll show you guys next time. But the big thing right now is that I've got a professional grade car lift in my garage, which is like every home mechanic's wet dream. It's like, and I had the money and I just took the plunge, because I mean, you've seen my videos, and that's not even half the amount of time I've spent crawling around underneath a car. I spent 6 hours a couple months ago on a Saturday afternoon putting transverse axles in a buddy of mine's car, and I did it all on jack stands. I put a transmission in a car on jack stands. I've put air shocks on my truck on jack stands, replaced U-joints in my truck on jack stands, done oil change on jack stands. I mean, I've done crap loads of stuff on jack stands. And I just told my wife, I'm getting sick of it, and I keep saving us money left and right because I keep doing all this work myself. So I just took the plunge, and bought it. And the thing is also about lifts, I tried to find a used one. And used ones are going for just as much as brand new ones. Like I said, this one, I've got $2,000 in it, like it sits right here, including those little 2x4 ramps. Those were $10. Spent $10 on those 2x4s to make those ramps, and some screws I had in my toolbox rolling around. But anyway, $2,000 out the door. It cost me $1,700. I think it was an even $1,700 to buy the lift and to have it freight shipped to me. I went and rented a utility trailer from U-Haul for $30, brought it back to my house, installed it myself, bought this big, huge hammer drill from Harbor Freight. That thing right there. Give you a better look at it. Bought that and the hammer drill bits to go with it, which were another $15 or $20. The drill was $100. The bits were $20. The kit actually came with the anchor bolts to go into the ground. I didn't have to buy those. That was $100 that saved me. And then $200 on the steel and the bolts to go across the top. So I've got, I guess, a little bit more than $2,000 in it, but I mean, it's going to pay dividends like you would not believe. I mean, just the sake of flipping cars the way I do, helping people out with their cars the way I do, working on my own cars the way I do to save money. I'm tickled pink. I've never been at home and stood flat-footed underneath my own vehicle. It's insane. Ooh, which, by the way, I guess I can give you guys some good shots of how the kit actually looks. So here is where the kit actually goes to the intercooler, right there. It snakes underneath there, and it's actually, you know, maybe a little bit low. Whenever you drop it all the way down on the ground, these stick down just a little bit, but I've never rubbed them on anything. But it goes in here. I had to cut out those splash guards myself. Goes through there, through that rocker panel right there, all the way out here, which I think you can, no, you can't even see the pipes. Nope, you can't see the pipes at all up there. And then it comes out through here on the side, and this is what all the madness looks like back here. It's pretty intense. All the magic is back here. That's the whole kit, everything is back here. And I had some people ask me about picking up water. No, I haven't had any concern about picking up water. Number one, I don't drive my Corvette through 3 feet of water. And if you look, the air filter is actually above the tires significantly. So for that turbo to have to pick up water, I'd have to have this thing scooping up oil. But by then, my entire frame, my entire exhaust, everything would be underwater. And I don't make it a habit of driving my Corvette through small creeks and large puddles. Maybe you guys do that with your Corvettes, but I don't. As far as whenever it rains, I don't even think about it. Because to be honest, whatever mist it might suck in through water vapor, through those air filters, it's really not going to hurt anything. Matter of fact, it would cool the intake air temperatures significantly if it actually pulled in some water droplets. Because by the time they get pressurized and go into the front, it would be a vapor. So I'm really not that worried about it. But like I said, I don't make it a habit of driving my Corvette through creeks, because that's what it would take for it to be, you know, submersed in water, for that turbo to suck water in. But anyway, so that's a quick update, quick walk around of my lifts. Oh, and the other thing that's freaking awesome about my garage is I have that garage door opener right there. A lot of people only have 2-car garages, and so they have to deal with the garage door opener. Well, it worked out perfect to where putting the lift right here, I don't have to worry about garage door openers. I really wanted to put it over here in my single car side, and that it just wasn't going to work, because if you read about how to install lifts and stuff, you've got to keep the lift, 6 or 8 inches from the edge of your slab. So I would always go safety factor of 2, or at least 1.5, and I would put it about a foot away. So that would mean my lift would start right here, and that lift, the feet of the lift are 21 inches. So basically what that would mean is I wouldn't be able to center the lift on the door. I would have to put it over here, and I'd have to bring it way up here, and then that would be crowding all my space up here. And so, not to have to deal with the garage door, not to have a funky angle or anything, I just decided to put it in the middle of the garage. And to be honest, our garage is big enough that you can walk around it, and it really doesn't bother you that much. It's a slight inconvenience in certain circumstances if you park too close to it or something like that, but it's really not that hard to live with. It's been up for about a month now, and yes, I have used it since I've installed it. I used it whenever I was putting the boost gauge in, or the boost controller and the new gauge and stuff in. But it's been fabulous. Oh, that $2,000 also included me wiring in everything that I needed to wire in. I'm not an electrician, but I'm not dumb either, so I just did the wiring myself. I actually tapped into my box, and I installed this 220 breaker directly to the box and ran it up through my attic. So it goes in the attic, and then it comes out over there. And I kind of put the plug in the wrong spot. I should install the lift first and then put the wiring in. But I put the wiring in while I was trying to decide about a lift. I knew I was going to get one, and I also, it took it a couple of days to get here, and then I had to really think and research and plan where I was going to put it. So it took me a couple of days to figure that out. But really, I installed it in a Saturday afternoon. In one Saturday afternoon, I had it installed and ready to lift a car. It went together super easy. It was like Legos, just plugging things together, bolting things down, and that was it. It took me another 2 Saturdays to drill all the holes and everything for that cross member across the top. Like I said, because I don't want to buy a welder. But anyway, and I'm not very good at welding. I've tried it a couple times. I'm not good at it. I don't want to deal with it. It's one more skill I just don't have time to learn. I'm already trying to do too much in my life as it is. So I just drilled some holes and put some bolts in it, and I'm not worried about it at all. But anyway, so there we go. Ta-da! I have a car lift in my garage, and you will be seeing more very soon. Now that I've got this puppy in, and I've got all my yard work done that I've needed to do, stumps pulled and all that other stuff, I'll be working on this a lot more. Probably the majority of this Saturday I'll be working on this, finishing up my boost controller, and then very soon I will be working on rebuilding this motor, which is a 4.7 for my Dakota. I'm gonna start working on tearing that down so that I can rebuild that, and then over a weekend I'm gonna swap the motor out in my Dodge. Anyway, I bid you adieu.